afternoon, good evening, depending on what part of the world you're joining us from. My name is Brenda Unu, and I am coming to you live from the city of Dallas, Texas, in USA. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. I hope everybody is fine. I hope you're sorry for our late alive today, but we're just excited that we still made it despite all and against all odds. Good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining. Thank you for hanging in there. Thank you for still, just making it a date with us. I mean, it's been a day and a half. If I tell you what I've gone through today to come live, you won't believe it, but I'm excited. I'm excited that we made it all the same, and I know that God is going to do some amazing things here today. So, while we wait for our guest, I just want to ask you, how are you doing? Where are you joining us from? Let me know in the comments where you're joining us from, how you're doing, how your day has been, and if you want to know whether it's afternoon for you or if it's evening for you, or how is it going really? How are you? How are you? Thank God I made it. I mean, in our WGA group, we have a common way of greeting, which is, how are you really doing? Because we tend to think that when people say, how are you, we just answer fine, and fine can mean many things, but many of us are going through a lot, battling a lot of things. But Jimmy, please don't kill me with laughter. Jimmy says, all the way from the United States of Hawaii. Yeah, I love it. Well done. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And and when we ask that question in our community, when we say, how are you really doing, we're expecting a full-blown answer, right? We don't expect to hear fine. We don't expect to hear, oh, I bless God. We don't expect to hear, thank God. We expect to hear, it's been a day like this and this has happened to me, but and then we go on with the I thank God and we bless God. But we always say how we are feeling. And this is a practice we have in our community, which has led us to having these conversations. We're in touch with our emotions, we're in touch with our feelings, and everything that we just go through. Thank you for joining us. Then that's our guest has just joined us now. So it's a fitting time to talk about, used to being in touch with our emotions in our community, WGA. We're used to talking about how we feel. We're used to coming out and ranting if we need to rant. We're used to coming out and, just talk. There you are. Hello. Can you see me? I see you.
Hi, sis.
Hi.
Evening. How are
Good
you?
evening. Good evening. Good evening. I'm fine. Fine. Thank you. So happy that you could join us. Thank you for agreeing to postpone to this time. It's been a day and a half.
And Philip,
Thank
hold
you.
on.
Thank you so much. Welcome. So I was just talking to those that are joining us and saying to them how, in WGA, our basic greeting every morning is, how are you really doing? And we say that to get people to speak about how they are feeling and to just generally be in touch with their emotions and in touch with their feelings, because, the general way of answering how are you is, I'm fine, right? But when you ask somebody, how are you really doing? We're asking to say, okay, really, 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 how is it doing you? Share, and in sharing, you find that, you're able to, talk about things that annoy you, somebody that upsets you, somebody that, something you're really happy or really excited about, all of the different emotions come to play. And we're every day getting more and more in touch with our emotions. And so that's why I was happy to bring that topic, that theme for the whole of the month of August. And you came and blessed us with your own topic. So before we jump into the conversation, introduce yourself to us, please. I like people to have the chance to introduce themselves. Toot your own horn. Tell us, who are you? Who is this lovely lady
Okay.
we're having the chance to speak to today?
I don't have plenty on shoot. I'm a very humble girl.
Just
Well,
forget it. Today you have my permission to be unhumble. Please be proud.
okay. Okay. My name is Eniola Peters. I'm an HR consultant and a career development consultant. So, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. I
Oh,
can hear you.
oh, yeah, I've practiced this for the past 18 years. No, yeah, 18 years thereabout. And
Wow.
now I'm focusing on career development where I empower youths to become employable, because I understand, I've seen in my years of HR experience, I have seen that a lot of youths don't even understand what it takes actually to get a job. And that's why I found a network initiative initiative where we train youths. We do some selection processes and all. We train youths on key skills they need to get and keep a job in this our current digital what's it called now. So yeah, then I also have a ministry. It's a what?
It's a very important service you're rendering. Very important service, I said it's a very important. I said it's a very important service you're rendering because people really do need to, skill up to become employable. I love it.
Yeah, there's there's a very very big gap in talent recruitment. This period is terrible, to be honest. People are not equipped to get jobs. So that's basically what I do. I help people, and I'm like the middleman between a company and the individual. So I help you get your job, and I help you get the company you want to work in. So yeah, that's kind of it.
I love it.
And I have a Kayu Lady Ministry. Basically, we empower women to become the Proverbs that one woman, which I believe God has called us to be, basically, because everything we do as women is all about being the Proverbs that one woman.
Right.
We cook, we take care of our husband, take care of our children. We work, we have businesses. We are fully equipped. Yes.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Yeah, and there's so many women are getting it wrong this time. People believe there's no Proverbs that one woman, like, oh, you can't have
it's
it
not
all.
possible.
You can have it all. It's not everything at the same time, but you can still have it all. So yeah, that is who I am. That is what I do. As I said, I'm not so proud like that.
I love it. I love it. So thank you. So glad to meet you, and I'm happy. I love what you're doing with the Gehe women. It's really amazing, and nowadays, even more than ever, we need to teach women what it is that God has called them to be. You cannot just be only this and only that. You can be all of the other myriad of things while just being excellent at each one. So well done with that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. You're also doing a fantastic job, and I mean, I'm part of the Woman Growth Academy, and I've followed since inception.
Yes,
so I'm so proud. I'm so proud to know you, and thank you so much, Coach Brenda. You've been fantastic, honestly.
Thank you so much. People like you gave us the mind to start, and here we are. Thank you so much. So yeah, let's get right into today's conversation. I like the topic, and the topic came from you. I just gave you a theme, right? And you gave me the topic. So first of all, tell me, where did this come from, and what were you thinking when you came up with this topic? Let's hear it.
Okay, so when I heard emotions and women, and the only thing that came to my mind was the fact that women lack emotional intelligence. We've heard
we have
so
just
many
started. Very
I'm so sorry.
What happened?
Sis, I deal with women. We lack emotional intelligence. I'm sorry to put it that way.
Okay, some of us. Say some of us.
Some of them. Okay. Not all.
Some of them.
Okay. So we've heard so many times, right, that men would say, oh, women are emotional beings while men are factual. Men deal with facts, women deal with emotions. And because we deal with emotions, we don't bother, or a lot of times we have not bothered to actually check if we are intelligent emotionally or truly we're just being emotional. There's a difference between just being emotional and being emotionally intelligent. Now, so emotions is just your feeling, how you feel. We by how we feel. So we are not feeling happy, everybody around us will not feel happy. We are feeling happy, everybody around us will feel happy. But being emotionally intelligent simply means that you are able to recognize how you feel. You are able to understand it. You're able to manage it, and then you're going to effectively use your emotions, to succeed and do things around you. That is just the thing. So when I had emotions as women, I just said, no, we need to teach women to have sense, because that's how I see it. You need to have sense.
Hey, good. I love it. I mean, I love, and this is really the thrust of where I was going with the conversation, because like you rightly said, men always say that women are emotional, and the thing is to vex me, because hello sir, you also are emotional, because emotions are a human thing, not a women's thing, and like you said, the more we can hone our emotions in a way that comes across as intelligent, they will stop saying things like that to us, because it used to vex me. I will not even lay. How can you be telling me women are emotional? Are you not emotional? When you get angry, is that not emotions? When you snap at your driver, is that not emotions? You know, just simply because my own can lead me to cry sometimes doesn't mean that I'm more emotional than you. If your mother or your father that you will also cry. So what are we saying? So please, everybody is emotional. Let's just get that out there. Men should stop yabbing us. Okay. Now that that has been said, let us look within. Because in this life, when somebody abuses you 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, you ask yourself, is there a truth in this matter? If there is, how can I course correct? Right? And you can only do that when you reflect. And so this is a women's conversation now. We are reflecting. If there's any men on the call, they should please excuse us. We are talking to ourselves right now. So this is it. We want to tell ourselves the truth. What's really going on with this emotional thing? How do we get better? I firmly believe, and I always preach it, that God created women as a refined version of the man, right? Everything that we have in us is not a mistake. God created us so that it was good. Like everything He created was very good. So there's no comma in us in saying that, this is we are like this, or like this. It's just, we are just beefing, right? So knowing that we are very good, how do we then, use everything that God has placed in us to the optimum? Because there is a reason why we have this emotion. There's a reason why we feel deeply. There's a reason why we have this instinct and all of the other things that make us women. How can we then harness it properly and make ourselves the better version that God created us to be? I think that should be the trust to this conversation. I don't know. I'm just putting that out there. You go on.
All right, great. Okay, so just like I initially defined what emotional intelligence is, the fact that you're able to recognize, understand, and manage the emotions. All right. Now, God has given us a lot of gifts. God has given us a lot of gifts, and He didn't just give us so that we can just mess up or spoil things. He gave us to manage. So, for instance, He gave us money. When He gives you money, is it just to be spending it up and down or to manage it?
Right.
Now, so when you have 1 million naira, for instance, you recognize the fact that you have 1 million naira, which means you're self-aware that I have this 1 million naira. All right.
Right.
And then now you come to, how do I regulate this 1 million naira? Which means, how do I manage this 1 million naira so that I don't finish spending it or spend it unnecessarily?
Yeah.
All right. You sit down, do your calculation, you control your impulse buying. You're not just entering all the places to buy things because you have 1 million naira, so that it can work for you in the future. All right. And then later on, you now your motivation. Now, this money now is going to motivate you to want to do some things. Maybe start a business, maybe help people in need and all that. Everything is going to be aligned based on your I usually call it based on your line of purpose, why God has created you. All right. So it has made us emotional as women, but at the same time, He wants us to be able to be aware. Now, our emotions are built up based on our background. We are all different people based on our background. I can't say the way I am emotional is the way you are emotional, Sis Brenda, because I'm a very emotional person, but you won't see it on the outside.
Yes.
You won't see me say I'm a very emotional person. But in my emotions, I have been able to learn how to manage it, because the first step was I became self-aware that I was very emotional. And by very emotional means I think irrationally sometimes. I overthink, or I used to.
Yes.
I used to overthink. I used to plan ahead because of the fear of, I don't know what is going on around me. I can cry at any small thing, just thinking that you are going to hurt me in the future. I can start crying now. That might not happen though. It's going to happen in the future. So I had to learn. Okay, now I understand myself. Now I need to manage myself. So when I start overthinking, I regulate myself.
Right.
I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
So instead of I try to regulate my emotions, like, okay, stop overthinking, stop being emotional. Oh, this person has not really done this, leave this person alone. So I self-talk a lot, and that's one of the ways to manage your emotions. All right. So we call it the Holy Spirit talking with us. for us, we that were in the faith, we say, oh, the Holy Spirit is saying, don't talk now. No,
Yes.
no, no, it's not time to cry.
Yes.
Like over the night, this night, I was awake for no reason for like 4 hours.
Wow.
And I kept asking myself, why am I awake? Why am I awake? And then you won't believe, Sis Bernard, that this thing that made me stay awake, it has not happened though. I was just thinking, what if this thing now happens? And I'm awake. And then when I finished, when the sleep was coming, the Holy Spirit literally just told me, sister, you just wasted 4 hours. That's
on thinking of what have not happened.
I'm telling you, and he said the thing can never happen. You are just wasting your time.
Oh my days.
Emotional, when we are emotional as women, we are wasting so many things. We are wasting our energy, we are wasting our time, we are wasting our resources. What we should be doing. So I'm going to share personal experience. I work with women a lot, so I prefer to share personal experiences and not just read from the book, because emotional intelligence, if you attend trainings, you would have been taught over and over and over again. There's nothing new that I'm going to say, self-aware, this, that, do you understand? But I'd like to use personal experience so people can understand that emotional intelligence is very key. So I remember when, I used to worry. I just said it, I used to worry a lot about what has not even happened. And then the Holy Spirit dealt with me and said, that thing you're worrying for will still happen or will not happen. But this period, you have missed the moment you want to create. You have missed being happy. You have missed a lot of things, but you're just thinking of something that will probably not even happen.
Yeah.
And even if it will happen, you will not even be thinking about it.
You can't change it by thinking.
And we women are like, we can't. And we would, in that period, okay, so for instance, as a married woman now, your husband went out, and I know I'm speaking for your husband went out, and you're thinking it's another girl, and then in that period, you're fighting with your children, you're shouting, you're yelling, you're not eating, this one, that one, and then your husband, and then you realize that it was not actually with a woman. So that 4-5 hours that you have used to shout on your children and manage and scatter your emotions for no reason, always dead. And that is why it is emotionally intelligent, because that period you'll be able to manage it, that there is nothing I can do about this now. When the time comes, right, I will face it. And that is why I say it again, that it is so important to be emotionally intelligent, be self-aware. If you know you can do it now, do it. If you can't, don't bother.
True. I like the way that you started with self-awareness. That's really, really key. It's really key, because we're all different, right? And that's why, in teaching these things, you cannot just use the textbook method of things. You have to, as much as possible, give people room to find themselves, and in finding themselves, they're able to course correct, and you find what they need to do according to the way that they have been made. So yes, please go on.
All right. So I was saying, okay, so to be emotionally intelligent, like I was saying, you have to be self-aware. That is, understand who you are. I usually take a course to help people on discovering who they are, really, because we are all different. Understand who you are, understand your background, understand what you believe in, understand who you believe in, who you believe in. Do you understand? Then the next thing, like I said, to be able to regulate your emotions, to know, to have self-control, to have self-control. See, all these fruits, is it fruit of the spirit in the Bible? Is all emotional intelligence. By the time you count it, one, see that they're all emotional intelligence. Everything comes together to make you emotionally intelligent, basically. Because if you are kind, if you're patient, if you're loving, if you're long-suffering and all those things, my sister, you will be emotionally intelligent. There's nothing
remaining.
There's nothing. And then the next thing is to be motivation. What drives you? You're already self-aware. You already know how to manage your emotions. The next thing is your motivation. What motivates you? And it's not external. It's internal.
It's good.
So, we always talk about having your me time. So that you're not burnt out and all those things. What motivates you? Some people will lock ourselves inside toilet for 1 hour. That's our own.
Get themselves back.
Some people, sometimes me, I don't myself in the room and let everybody be playing the parlor. Me, I just want to be
Please,
staying. I don't want
I
to talk
want
to
that.
anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, ma,
I said I can relate. I can relate. Without locking yourself up,
yeah,
I can totally relate.
yes. So you need to know what motivates you. The next thing is you need to have empathy.
Mm.
This empathy is what makes a lot of women not emotionally intelligent. Because in as we think we put ourselves, we put other people's our legs in other people's shoes.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how to.
Yeah.
We don't know how to. How many of us here, when you're driving and then you see someone speed past you, how many of us here, oh, this guy wants to cheat me because of I'm a girl?
We'll just start. Oh, more. We know today that I'm a Lagos driver. Bang, bang.
Exactly. Meanwhile, I give them excuses. I remember when one of my coach told me one time that why not think maybe the person wants to poo poo or the person wants to wee wee or maybe the person has an emergency or something. Give excuses for people. That is empathy. How many women give excuses for people? Forget, we would have concluded and judged and hammered and everything.
Yeah.
But as an emotional intelligent woman, you need to be able to give excuses for people. Give excuses for people. Put yourself in their shoes. What would you do? That's why we can't make decisions fast. Because you see men, for instance, my husband, if you say, sweetheart, I think we should do this, you say, give me, let me go and think about it.
Yes.
Okay, what are you thinking about? It is a yes or no thing. You say, no, that's not how men. I have to go. You want to use my head.
Exactly. Well, my husband feels that once you start rushing him, that means you have ulterior motive. You just slow down. Why? What's the hurry? Let me think it through. And true, this is true. It's not even lying. Anytime like, I have ulterior motive, I can't even lie. Yes, it's true, sir. Quickly say yes. Let's move on.
So you see, it is so important. Put yourself in the guy's shoes. If the tables were turned, would you say yes immediately? No, now we will still say, okay, let us think about it. Do you understand? The good thing is that our emotions actually help us a lot as women, because it is our emotions that actually helps us, to decide. We decide with our emotions. But if we're not emotionally intelligent, and if we don't put all these things into practice, the empathy, the motivation, the self-awareness, if you don't put it in place, we'll make decisions based on and end up not paying us.
Absolutely. I mean, thank you so much for that, that snippet, because I know that we're going deep. So in this emotional intelligence, I mean, I've had a lot of times when I first got married, I used to be very nobody can cheat me, Lagos get was, and I think that right now, with a lot of hindsight and thinking through my life, I realized that it's because I saw some marriages where the women were oppressed. So I came with a chip on my shoulder, like nobody can oppress me. So before you even start to say, I'm already thinking of oppression. I'm like, no way, it can't happen. So I was so combative. It was really, really terrible. I don't even know the grace of God that kept my husband, because it should have just been like, please, I didn't sign up for this, and just gone away. But so a lot of people come with so much so much background and so much all of these baggages that really make them show up in the way that they do. So which is I like your point about empathy. If we sit down and think about where people are coming from, I mean, I used to be a terrible boss. I mean, with my domestic staff, not even office staff, because office staff, HR is there to put you in place. You can't even be anyhow. But with my domestic stuff, I kind of felt like, what? I'm doing my spend, you don't do that, don't do that. But my mom said something to me one day, because I was very impatient with people that are not very fast, you see. As a very intelligent person myself, even though I do say so myself, I used to feel as if I tell you something once, get it now, let's just get going, like no time. So my mom had to say to me that, look, these girls are not as intelligent as you expect them to be, because they do not even get the exposure that you did, or the education that you have. In fact, she said one day that if they were as intelligent as you expect them to be, they will be your classmates. I was like, so always cut them some slack. When you're giving these instructions that seem to rile you up, take it slowly. Take it again and again and again. Give them time. Say it over and over until they get time to catch up. And she said, if they were as intelligent as you expect them to be, they would be your classmates. Now, all of this was going water entering one ear, coming out of the other ear because I was very stubborn. But how the Holy Spirit finally broke me was when He sent children my way. Children that God the Lord gave to me. They came to refine me. They came purpose. They didn't have another work. The work was to come and refine. I learned patience and long suffering by force. These days, my husband will look at me and say, you're so patient with these children. I'm like, You don't know where we are coming from. Holy Spirit. And of course, with exposure to courses, and more information and better information, better ways of doing things and working on yourself, which is why I like that you said we have to start with self-awareness. I had to understand myself that my own day, my body, right? I was hot-tempered and because of a lot of things. Now, because I could understand that that's where I was coming from, I could actually self-correct. And in self-correcting, I could see this is where I wanted to be. So I think that when people, first of all, identify themselves, also go further by identifying who you want to be like. Do you see? So look around you. God always gives us examples of what can be.
Yeah.
So look around you. There must be some woman somewhere that you're thinking, oh my God, I wish I could be like her. Right? Oh my God, I love her family. Oh my God, I love her job. There should be a model that you can see. And when you see this model, you can now sit down and tell yourself, okay, so here, where I am now and where she is, what's the difference? What do I have to do to get there? Right? And you can now walk towards it. And that way you're building yourself one over. I mean, I enter some people's houses. Mother will be talking to the daughter, they will not shouting, they will talk so much. And I'm thinking, oh my God. Like, is this possible? I have 4 children, I'll be shouting like a mad woman. Then I went to a place where the woman had 12 children. 12, I kid you not. And she does not raise her voice. I was like, Mommy, please cut soap for me. Like, how are you doing it? And that is where I think many people tell me that I'm very teachable. And I think that because I know I don't know everything. I know I don't know plenty things, in fact. So I'm always looking around for who I will copy from. Like, I like this thing. Okay, how do I do it? Okay, what do I need? What? So imagine me seeing that woman. The first thing I noticed was that she was not shouting.
Yeah.
So I knew that I was just able to correct. Okay, madam, stop shouting first. So that you can understand yourself. Then how does she manage not to shout? What's she doing differently? And that's really emotional intelligence. It's really understanding yourself, understanding where you want to go, and knowing what to do to get you there. And in every day we take a step. It's a journey. It's never a destination. You're never there. Right? You're never there. So when we were saying that we're emotional beings, I was like, no, stop for me. I've come a long way. Don't add me to your list. He said, women. I said, no. Do you know where I'm coming from? Please stop it. Even my husband will testify that the work the Holy Spirit has done on me is worthy of praise of God. But, I mean, I just said that as an aside. Please go ahead.
Then you said something now. You said know yourself, know who you want to be like or where you want to be. And I wanted to add, know why. Why do you want to be like that?
True.
Because that means for you to know yourself, and then you've discovered there's some things you don't like about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know why you don't like those things. So for instance, growing up for me, my mom used to shout, and she's from Ilesha, so she used to curse a lot. Ilesha people can curse you, can curse your one that is dead and the one that is in the future. And they don't mean it. But I knew that no, this one, no, I don't want it.
Be like this.
So I know why I needed to be emotionally intelligent. Even though yes, that shouting, maybe I need to come and collect mentorship because I have to. Sometimes I have so truths.
We don't shout again. No, there's no need. In fact, my youngest child was the one that God finally used to finish the matter. He would say, I don't like when people shout. He would start crying. I said, what's wrong with this one? I said, wake up, this is Nigeria, we shout here. He said, no, I don't like it. And I was like, I said, what's wrong with this one? Where did they see this one? I beg Benny, arrange. And I realized that I was actually hurting the boy. And I'm like, Okay. Oh. So he
Yeah.
will not tell you, Mommy, you shouted and you didn't need to shout. I'm like, okay, okay. And then
Mm,
sometimes I'll tell them, I say, look, I'm not a mad person. I cannot just be shouting. If I tell you something the first time, do it. Then I'll stop shouting. They'll say, Mom, but you know, you don't
exactly.
really need to shout. No, so I started telling myself, okay, sometimes, and that's okay. Okay, Brenda, calm down. Really, they say you don't need to shout at me. Okay, how else can we pass this information? So sometimes, instead of shouting, you can off TV, and everybody will look up. You know, you can off
Yeah.
you can off Wi-Fi, and everybody will mommy, what happened? You know, you can.
Mhm.
It's because always shouting and yelling and beating is a shortcut for us. The shortcut that our parents used because they just could not be bothered. And
Exactly.
now we are in a new age where things are new, and the children are asking you why. They are not just
Mm,
saying because I said so. They are asking you why, and they're asking. I think my daughter will ask me a question, and I'll be like, is it me they're asking? But when I go back into my room, Holy Spirit say, where's the lie? I said, Holy Spirit, but it's not okay that you ask for that. I said, but where is the
yeah.
lie? So when you now sit down, you're able to sit down and tell yourself the truth. You're able to, hear wisdom from the mouth of babes. You're able to tell yourself that, let this child be disgracing me every day. Let me arrange my own self. And when you come correct, they will respect you. They don't have, these children of nowadays, they don't have problem, but they just need you to come correct.
Yeah.
Don't just come and be giving them reasons. Tell me do this. Why? You don't have any reason, just because.
Because I said so.
Could they work? It doesn't work with these ones. Ah, it doesn't work. So you come correct, come with your knowledge, come with your wisdom, come armed with information as you are telling them they're understanding why. Okay, and they're getting it and they're moving. And in the patience I learned in having to break down things for them helped me. You know,
Yeah.
he helped me as a person,
It,
it translated in all my other relationships, even with other adults, even with people in the workplace, even everywhere else, even with this famous domestic staff that I used to be very crazy about. I realized that my children are not better; they are the same thing. so,
true.
so
True.
yeah,
And just like you said now, one of the benefits of being emotional intelligence really it is to have a better relationship with people around you.
mhm,
Because when you're emotionally intelligent, you're able to, like I said, give excuses for people
mm,
and understand them.
yeah,
Do you understand? For instance, let me use having a toxic friend as an
mm,
example. You know what people call toxic.
yeah,
Now, I there's nobody that is toxic. I just believe we're just not a match.
yes.
Because what you do that is the toxic you can do it to someone else and you guys will be
I
perfect
tell
for each
you.
other. Do you understand? You're just not for me.
Mm,
So I had a toxic friend in quotes, and those kind of people that when you see on the road, the only thing they say about you is something that is false.
negative. Mm,
Like I was rumpled.
mm,
And you're like, your breast is open, cover up.
eh,
People that once you see them like I'm so uncomfortable, right?
mm,
And I had to manage them emotionally. And I realized that anytime I see them, I'm already prepared
mm.
to hear what they're even though after a while I stopped rolling with the girl because
For your own sanity. Oh.
for my sanity, because even though as much as I try to do, a day shift for whatever she says, I still go home to think
Yeah.
about it. And I'm like, is it true? My clothes is always rumpled and all those things. I said, well, this girl is not for me because she doesn't mean harm. That's just who she is. And that is managing her emotionally intelligently.
Mm,
I just say, so let me just run away. If I see her, I'll still smile. How are you? I'm good.
mm,
Well, fine. That will help me manage my relationship with everyone around
yeah,
me. I can see you 20 years from now. I will not fight you. I don't even have any enemy except you don't want to talk to me again for no reason.
that's okay.
And that's what emotional intelligence does. It helps you manage your relationship with people. It
Mm-hmm,
helps you relieve your stress level.
mm-hmm,
Imagine
mm-hmm.
if you're not shouting at your children, you're at home just chilling, raising your leg up, everybody is fine. You
Mm.
are not stressed. Because last, these are the things that stresses you.
That make women go
You are
and get
sit
high
down.
BP.
You're on a vacation.
Mm.
When you are finished now, you can just choose to go and lie down or do nobody is stressing anybody in
Mm-hmm,
life.
mm-hmm,
It reduces emotional intelligence reduces your stress level. Why are you stressing?
mm.
Just leave it. And that's where the place of the Holy Spirit comes to when the Holy Spirit says we should submit, cast our cares to God. When you
Yeah.
cast your cares and you submit everything literally, like dump it, you will feel relaxed. And that is what emotional intelligence does. Like if
Yeah.
I'm driving now and you drive past me, I'll just say maybe somebody's dying or the person wants to wee wee. or something, I'll just give you an excuse and just
I
continue
keep
my
it
journey.
moving, and that frees you from burning up and getting angry. Why should he try to cheat me? This is how these men always feel. Like women are bad, that I will show him today. All this energy for nothing. The man may be rushing to keep an appointment that has nothing to do with you. He didn't notice you're even a woman driving. He was just going his zone.
It's
So all of this energy is on you, by you, for you.
for you.
And it's not touching the man. Do you see?
It's not.
It's not touching
Do
the
you know?
man.
Do you know how many times people fight with people that they don't?
They're not
People
even
don't even know
aware.
you.
They're
Like
not
I
aware.
with you now, and you're not even aware. And then you now come and meet me that Eniola Alpha, and I'm like, don't talk to me again. Who is who
Who is dying?
who's this?
Who's dying?
So that's why it is important to be emotionally intelligent, because it reduces that, and then it helps you to do self-reflection. For instance, one of the things I do, emotional intelligence makes you self-reflect.
Yeah.
One of the things I do, literally, if I just, there's a feeling when you're not happy about something, there's a feeling you have inside of you. You're
Yeah.
not sure. You're just wondering. So I always self-reflect, like, okay, why am I feeling this particular way? What happened? I'll now be tracing everything that happened. Okay, maybe this happened and my friend wasn't happy with me, and I didn't handle that situation very well. And I've been able to identify what happened. Then I'll be able to attack it directly.
True.
That way, if it's somebody I offended, I can just call you and say,
And beg.
do you understand?
Yes.
Not for the next 5 days, and by 5 days I would have forgotten I offended you, and you'll be thinking I did it on purpose when me I didn't. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it's so important to just to have it at the back of your mind that I always tell people nothing is
Yeah.
personal.
And nothing means anything except the meaning you attach to it. The
That
day
is it.
I learned that thing, my life changed. Like nothing means anything except the meaning you attach to it. I remember when we first got married, my husband and I are classmates. So we had friends, like the same friends, right? So you know how it was. We got married, people came for our wedding, and after that, they all started to get married. And if somebody's getting married, I'll say, "Oh, I want to go see. Did they come for our wedding?" I'm like, bro, you still remember this 5 years after? Like, no, now there's no need. Like, see, you don't know what the person's situation was at the time. They may not be able to have money to travel, or they were not available, or they were ill, or somebody in their circle had an emergency. You don't know what the reason was. You can't hold on to it years after to say this is why we know now. We don't do like that. Do you see?
Yeah.
And when I explained to him that way, he now said, "Oh, okay." He now let go of it. And so I don't know how many of them he had been holding on to before he voiced out to me that day. Do you see? And many of us are like that. Many of us are like that.
Yeah.
We're silently keeping score. We're silently keeping score, saying, this person did me, I'll do you back. I mean, I had a friend once who told me that if he doesn't give, how you're driving, right? And you're going on a highway and somebody tries to cut in front of you and you don't allow the person, right? He said that if he does that to you, he knows he will mark your car. If he's going in front and you are the only one left for him to enter, he will not ask you. He said, you know why? He said, because if it's him, he will not agree. I'm like, like, why? Life is not that hard.
It's not
This is,
that hard.
many people are keeping score. Many people are keeping score unconsciously, consciously, and they're just taking away from themselves their own peace, their own rest, and their own, because life is not that hard. And I want to speak about these blunt people. You're talking about your friend who's always talking about, oh, you're blunt. I think that bluntness is simply unkindness. Many people hide under and blunt to be purely unkind. There are many ways you can tell somebody something, right? And they will take it as good feedback. You do not have to just say, your hair is like this. Why is your hair like that? Why are you so fat? Have you added weight? All of those kind of things are just unkind. That's what they are. People want to be told the truth, but they don't want to have to go and sleep over it, thinking about their life. I spent time learning this because first of all, I was one of those unkind people. I used to be so unkind. My mouth, in fact, I used to pride myself in the fact that if I tell you word, 2 weeks, you will not sleep. You'll be thinking about the word. Imagine, I used to pride myself. Like, I said, my husband, if my husband tells you about me today, he's every day, Holy Spirit has done work on my wife because, oh Lord, where I was.
Wow.
So imagine,
in working with me and pruning me, the Holy Spirit explained to me how it was just unkind. You know, you're just making somebody else, a child of God, somebody that Jesus died for, to be sacked unduly. Because me, I would have said it, I would have gone on. No, I would have forgotten that I said it. Now the person is still thinking for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, why? Why do I have to do that? Why? I mean, this is somebody that Jesus died for. Like, why?
Exactly.
So I now had to learn the hard way to list my feedback. You know, so I do this beautiful thing called the sandwich method. And I've done it so many times that somebody had to come to me the other day and say, "Oh my God, I really love." She loved the way I told her something. She had a bad hair day. Her hair was bad, and she took a picture. You know, and I looked at the picture, and I wanted to tell her that this hair is not okay. So I had to tell her that, you know what, I really love this kimono you have on. It's so nice. Where did you get it? You know, and all of that. Really, very nice. You know, and then Nana said to her next, I said, you know what, but this your hair, Sha. You know, why did you do your hair like this? Is it were you trying to style it the sort of way and everything? I mean, I have a song. You can go to Pinterest to find ways to style your dreads and it will look nice and everything. So she said, "Oh, okay." She never knew that. I said, "Yeah, because I have a few friends that have these dreads. I know how these dreads can be for you. You would think that it is hair that does not have stress. That's why you're doing it. But the stress following." So we now laughed about that. Then I told her something else again. You know, I really like that picture angle you took, and that's it. Do you know, she came back to me the next day saying, "You know what? I just realized that you were giving me feedback about my hair, and I didn't even feel bad. Thank you for the way that you put it."
That's emotional intelligence. That's it.
Because I know that if I just gone to the picture and say, "Hey, I put this kind of picture. Did you see the hair that you have on your head? Hey, Jesus, you have gone to disgrace me. Oh, how we." I see someone that calls me coach. So even if I had told her that, I'll be within my right to tell her that. Yes, I'll be feeling like, yes, I'm her coach. It's my right to tell her to lead her right. But there's no need to cause a child that God died for undue pain. There's none.
My goodness.
None.
And you know, it's so interesting that as a leader, one of the major skills you need to have is emotional intelligence, be it male.
Okay.
Because if you don't, you can think you're raising people, you'll be raising demons. You can shout and they'll get used to the way you talk to them. And then when they're mentoring other people, they'll
be
pass it on.
propagating the bad behavior.
And they'll defend it because my coach does
taught
this.
me. Yes.
You know,
You are just propagating bad behavior.
You understand? And women, we are leaders. Women, we are leaders. We're leaders of our own.
In our
we're
home.
the one that the husband. We housemaids, the children, everybody, one that leads. So if we are not emotionally intelligent and we don't know how to handle these people, there's a time to shout, or rather correct, and there's a time to love. Do you understand? It's not every time out that you're made. You'll just be giving yourself headache because this person you
and
said
they'll be avoiding you.
They'll be avoiding you. And then the children they're supposed to be taking care of, they'll be punishing them because it flows from the top, it flows down.
Put your head down, Jerry. It's not your mother that the way that your mother shot on me. Please don't give me problem. Put your head.
Exactly. Because I've come to realize that the way you talk to your children in front of this helps. When you're not around, the helps, even when you're around sometimes, the helps will talk to children like that. Like, come here. I said, no, don't talk to my child like that. But then I now realize that even me, I'm talking
me. Yeah, the one that showed us example. Yeah, you model this, mommy.
Then I wanted us to just talk on. I have some questions I wanted to ask.
Okay.
You know, because to be emotionally intelligent, like I said, it varies. We're all different from different backgrounds, and what emotional intelligence means to you is different from what it means to me. Definitely there's a principle, there's a standard way of being emotional intelligent, and there's a standard result. But then, you know, like I said, your why do you want to be emotionally intelligent? Why do you want to do that? So number one question I wanted to ask is, when you feel strong emotions like anger or frustration, do you recognize what triggers it? And how do you respond to it? It is important to know. You know, I talk about self-reflection. Be self-aware and self-reflect. So when you're angry, do you know what made you angry? Why did that particular thing make you angry? When you're able to understand this and have an answer, you will know why you need to be emotionally intelligent. It would even help you because you realize that all these things are not personal. Because now, you realize somebody made you angry. and then you think about what the person did, and you're like, this thing is not even worth for me to be angry.
I know.
Or I usually call embarrassment. There's nothing called embarrassment. It's just how you view it.
Yes.
If you come and pour water on me, it's how you view it.
Like I said, nothing means anything except the meaning you attach to it.
Yeah.
Nothing. All these shame
You say, oh,
things that are making us shame.
wow.
There's nothing to be ashamed of. Nothing.
Do you understand? There's nothing, you know. Then the second question is, can you identify patterns in your emotional responses to certain situations? There's a pattern, and that comes from your background, just like I mentioned. If you can recognize the patterns in your emotional responses. So like, let's use our children, for instance. Now, they do small things. Our first response is shout. That means it is a pattern. Because that is how we grew up. So now, how does the shouting affect your daily life? When you wake up in the morning and you shout, if I wake up and shout on my children in the morning, that day probably I'll probably be upset.
The whole day. The whole day.
It's a pattern. Why? Why do
you from your children, the next person you meet, your house help, you shout. Next person you meet, your driver, you shout. Next person you meet, you get to the office, you're upset. Before you even say anything, maybe you even snap at your boss before you realize. You now say, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir."
You know, let's even say for married women, for instance, now your husband, you have been asking for money or for sex or something, and he didn't answer you. Then that morning he now answers you. You now got what you want. Do you know the emotions, the burst of emotions? You'll be feeling fly, happy. Everybody throughout that day, there is no that can offend you. But why? Why can't you be like that, even with or without getting what you want, in quotes? It goes both negative and positive. That is our emotions, and that's being able to manage our emotions. Why can't we be happy throughout the day? Why can't we?
Because happiness is really a choice, you know. Choice is a decision, it's a choice. It doesn't have to come from what's happened to you. You can just wake up and decide to be happy. Yeah. And choose joy.
The next question is, when you are stressed, how do you calm yourself down? When you are stressed and angry, what strategies do you use to prevent your emotions from overwhelming you? These are questions you need to think about to be able to understand if you are actually emotionally intelligent or not. What patterns, like how what's it called? How do you prevent your emotions from overwhelming you? Just like we talked about now, you're happy. The happiness will be overwhelming throughout that day. Nothing can go wrong. Even if somebody eats your car, you say, "Hey, don't worry, thank you." Oh, you're so nice, thank you very much. But if you're angry and somebody eats your car, you will take me to
hey, I will give you account number. Are you joking?
Then the next thing is, when faced with a challenging situation, how do you control your emotions? You shout, because every day we are faced with challenging situations. Every day we are faced with hard decisions. Some decisions that are like, "Hey, God, help me." Do you understand? How do you control your emotions?
Yeah.
And how adaptable are you when unexpected changes occur? You know, as I always talk about being adaptable, being resilient and adaptable, so that you're not, you know, some people, one small thing can happen and it will cause trouble or sadness or whatever for the next 5 weeks. You don't even know, it's one small thing that happened. So how adaptable are you when
it was you I was talking about, this adaptability and all of that. It was you I was just talking to today when I set out to do this live. So I was saying to I'd been talking about it that 6 p.m. is a bit tough for most people, especially some of my guests. They're like, "Oh, I'm still on the road," and all. So I've been talking about changing to 7, and then this holiday gave me a perfect reason to go to 7, because I'm in a different time zone and it's just always one kind. Anyway, I told myself we would do 7, and then today when I checked and I realized that I had a flight, a transit, to make, and I said 7 no go walk. Let's make it 7:30 to be safe. Like I was supposed to be landing 5:30. I knew that no matter what, airport to the house cannot more than 30, 45 minutes. So I gave myself even a full extra hour in addition to say no matter what, I will be able to make it. I'll be settled down. I'll be able to do the life. My sister, everything that could happen happened. My sister-in-law that is normally on time, she had to, she had to do some work thing, so she was late. She was to please just chill there. I'll be coming later. I said no, I was like I have buffered in time. When she got there, we now had to get an Uber because we had so many bags, and then the Uber, we could not find the Uber. We could not find her. In fact, we went around the airport another how many times. I was just looking at myself. By the time I finally entered the car and I sat down, I did Google Map to see how many minutes to the house. I just knew it wasn't going to work. And I told myself, because I'd already talked to my husband about it, that, I have live. And I said, no problem, make it 7:30. I'm sure we'll be fine. So, and I didn't want to get to the house. And instead of greeting people, I have to just go and jump into looking badly behaved. I was just thinking about what could I do? What could I do? I would have, I've been very careful about not missing these lives because I'm working on a journey with the Holy Spirit about consistency. So I was saying to myself, what do I do? What do I do? And I just said, you know what? This life is not that hard. You see? Let me reach out to you and let's see what we can do. And I started to just say, well, let's do 8 o'clock. What's there? And I just sent out the messages. Oh, guys, it's 8 o'clock. And we're doing the live, right? So nothing died. The heaven did not fall. Nobody died. And I would have. I could have instead started freaking out, telling my husband that, I need to go on this live. I'll be in the taxi and say, I need to go on live now in taxi. You look at me like, are you mad? Is something wrong? What's chasing you? Do you understand? Then I could have gone to the house, upset all my
Husband,
in-laws, gone to the house, upset all my in-laws by not standing to greet first. I just jump into corner to go and do I could have, all of those things would have been low emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Right? Shifting by a bit of time that didn't kill anybody, but giving people in the house the respect that they deserved, knowing and even still keeping up with my showing up was like for me the height of adaptability and resilience. And I'm beating my own chest that I've done well. You see, I feel good about it.
Fantastic. You have done well. That is the height of emotional intelligence, to be honest. Because all those in quotes, all those I keep to time, I am this, I am that, I am accurate, I am this, I am that. Most of them don't have adaptability skills. They can't adapt to little changes. And then you realize that it's coming. If I don't do it 8 o'clock, just come. Just not even beat me. last. It will meet whoever it wants to meet at that time.
Because
so there's no
need. all things work for my good. And that is one that has changed my life. There was a time I used to be fret when things don't go my way. I would be so fretful, like, oh my God, I'm missing this, I'm late for this, I'm missing, and then I just sat down. The Holy Spirit broke down that scripture for me. I realized that everything I've prayed in the morning, I've told God this is what I want to do, and I have done everything within my power. And if something still happens, it's working out for my good. It's for a reason.
It is.
And God loves me. Thanks. So it's for my good. Absolutely. So are we done with our questions? I'm still typing.
Yes.
We're at number 5.
Now that's all the questions for now. Except that you want me to add more. There's plenty, but I could add more. Maybe just let me add one on empathy. All right. Okay. When someone shares their problems or emotions with you, how do you respond? This one, a lot of coaches, pastors, leaders are guilty. When share their problems or emotions with you, how do you typically respond? Yay! Hey, you did that. Even you this small girl, how could you do that? Or okay, let me think about it. And then your mind now go home.
Yeah, that's a powerful question.
This small girl.
That's a powerful one. I like
You're
that
saying
one.
something? Yeah.
I said that's a powerful question. That's a powerful question because we really need to think about our responses. And again, this was taught to me through my children. When they will tell me something, the African mother in me is already shouting, and they're looking at me like. My daughter said to me one day, "This is why I don't tell you stuff." I was like, I immediately arranged myself. I'm like, sorry, okay, sorry. So from now on, when she wants to tell me something, I already arrange my face. Yeah. No matter what. I cannot. I will never show the way. Really? Okay. And so now I'm able to hear more things. You see, because I'm able to control the responses, because that response is a it was a hard reset to my sister. And they told me my life history. This is why I don't tell you stuff. It's your reaction. I say, hey, please, I want to hear more. Please, ma, I'm sorry.
Oh. And then I wanted to ask, let me have this other question. Can you recall a time? No. How do you balance your emotions? How do you balance your emotions with the need to empathize with others? This one, is very somehow. How do you balance your emotions with the need to empathize with others? Because that means you have your own emotions in one corner. Now somebody now carry their own and they now come. How? And you have to empathize with them.
Yes.
You have to put yourself in their shoes. So now somebody comes to meet you and says, I don't know, let me think of an example. Maybe someone comes for counseling and you're trying to put yourself in their shoes to understand what they are going through so that you can be able to advise them, but it's against your belief. Let me use that. How do you
this one
do this? Are you okay? But I can't right now. It's not the time to judge. I have to put myself in her shoes. How do you do that? Please don't use my answer. I'm giving the ideal answer.
Yeah.
You need to look at it and answer yourself.
It is a tough one, and especially in these days where the world is split into two. The group of people who say, "Oh, I'm a principled person," right, and this is what I believe, this is what I believe, and a group of people who are saying, we have to be, adaptable. I mean, what's the word? Hey, there's a word that is really, hey,
resilient.
No. The one of it's not just American people. It's this word I read in America. Diversity, inclusive. Yes. Inclusive is the word I was looking for. So there's this group of people who are like, no, I'm principled, and my principle is my principle. This is what I believe. So this is what I will stand by. And there's a group of people who are saying, we have to be inclusive. We have to, accept people for who they are. So and then there's a happy middle, where you're thinking, okay, so you know what, these are my principles, so yeah, but I do understand where you're coming from, and I can understand why you're like that too. But you see, if you ask me, this is where I stand. Well, I mean, if you're not asking me, that's fine. Do what you have to do. Anyway. So it's really tough. But you have to ask yourself, really, what drives
you?
You?
Have to.
What is your North Star? What drives you? What is the reason? What is the thing that you look up to make your decisions? And how far can you shift from this North Star? So if, for example, I say I'm Catholic, right, and I say that I do not believe in abortion, I do not believe in contraceptives and all of those things, right? And then somebody comes and tells me that an 18-year-old girl was raped, and there's a pregnancy. I'm now confused. How do you? They are not coming to ask me, but I should come and show them abortion clinic. You can imagine. It's not going to be very. It's going to be very worrisome. First of all, I'm upset that an 18-year-old girl, or even 16, or even 14-year-old girl was raped, and I'm thinking, what the heck? Why would anybody do that? That's evil. That's all of that. But the second time, I cannot be the one to show you abortion clinic. You see. So how do we do it? How do I show that I empathize with their situation? I'll also chip into my principles. So that's what the question is. There's no right or wrong answer. This is a personal reflection for all of us. I'm not giving you the answer. Please go and think about your own life, because Sister Eniola have put us in work today.
I'm going to ask 3 more questions. How do you handle conflicts in relationships?
Today is today.
How do you handle it? When I mean fight, not physical, like have disagreements, confrontations. How do you handle it?
Yeah.
Do you sit down and try to find the middle ground, or do you get upset and say, you're not even my friend, I don't talk to you again, I don't know you, please leave me alone? Then how do you seek feedback on emotional intelligence? How many of us can boldly walk up to our husband now and say, sir, do you think I am emotionally intelligent?
I mean, I can't know, because the Lord has done a lot in my life. I can do it now.
After how many years?
Now, not before.
there's a group that I was on, and they said we should send text message to our husband and say,
What?
uh,
What?
I love 90% of the husbands responded, what do you want?
I swear down. Please, madam, when did this one start? I love who's loving who? My friend, get to the point. What do you want?
Exactly. So how many women can go and seek feedback from their husbands? As women, as mothers, we should be able to seek emotional intelligence feedback from our children, from our husband, from our workers, from everybody around. Like once in a while, sit them down. What kind of person do you think I am? It is important. Some people think it's not important. Like, am I not their father? Am I not their mother? Am I not the one paying their salary? But it's important for you, for your self growth, for you to be emotionally intelligent more.
Yeah.
So if for instance, you get feedback from your children and they say, oh, mommy, you get angry too much or too quick. Yes, I know you love me, get angry too quick. Then you now have to sit down and ask yourself, why do I get angry?
What's triggering you, madam? Why are you angry? What's angering you?
What triggers you?
Right? I found out what triggers me with my daughter. My own was very funny. You know, I'm very outspoken, and as a child, I wanted to be outspoken, but the mother that gave it to me did not have time for that behavior. If you talk too much, you get your own abara. You know those kind of things. So I was silenced very quickly. Now I found that the Nana gave it to myself, and this child has no qualms with being outspoken. So when she would say the things, I'm like, me? Is it me you're talking to me? You know, and I was wondering why I was so angry, but I later realized that it was the me that was silenced as a child. It's me that thought about the fact that I never could say this to my mother. How dare she say it to me? You know, that was what was not double triggering me, because sometimes when I sat down, I thought about what was said. It wasn't bad. Do you see? It wasn't rude. It was just, healthy questioning. But I felt, how dare you? Because nobody allowed me to dare. So sometimes, you have to ask yourself, why am I triggered? Do you see?
Yeah.
Why?
Why? What's triggering you?
If somebody said something about something, I just remember one auntie that maybe her husband used to beat her, and because she just said one thing that looks like you want to be angry with me, I've already started vexing. I've entered, gear 10. Why? Why are you triggered? Nobody's beating you, madam. Calm down. You see, so
Something
find
interesting.
out. Yeah.
Sorry, just happened with my daughter. I think okay, she was sleeping one day and then she came to my room and said she wanted to sleep on my bed, and then it triggered something. I remember when I was young that I did that for my mom. I ended up sleeping on the floor because
Like there's no space here.
my head is on one side, my leg is on one side. So I was literally kicking my mom. So she woke me up and said she can't sleep on the floor. So I laughed. And she said, why are you laughing? I said, because when I was your age, I dare not do it to my mother. And guess what my daughter said? She said, that is why she's your mother and you are my mother. And
that's a different movie.
I don't understand. And she said, yeah, I mean, you did that. You won't do that to me because I'm not you. She's not my mother. And I'm like, she's a small girl.
It's the confidence for me, these children. God
Well,
created them with extra dose. They are doing well.
But help them understand that they need to be confident in themselves. Now, the last question, how confident are you? Your level of confidence is going to help your emotional intelligence. Because if you're not confident in yourself, if you're very skeptical, if you're always thinking something is against you, if you're always thinking, working on your background, like using your background issues to deal with your present and all those things, you won't be confident in yourself. You won't even know who you are. You won't know who you are and not be able to develop your emotional intelligence.
True. Wow. It's been an amazing session. I mean, even these 10 questions alone is enough for us to go home. Like, let's close. Share the grace, because I'm already thinking, scratching my head, thinking, oh boy, see this woman just give me master class like this, and I'm thinking I've seen assignments. Thank you so much for today's class. I mean, this is the point where if anybody has any questions, it's time to type them in, while the rest of us are ruminating on the questions as we are reading them and thinking about our lives. So I was able to type them out, so you can just scroll down and do a screenshot of the questions so that you have them and you can go back to them, or if you can copy and paste, no problem. But the thing about it is that by the time we do our replay, by the time we're saving the replay, the comments don't come up anymore. So if you are live, you get to see the comments. If I have time, I will type it and put it in the caption for replay if I have one, but I'm on holiday, so I don't know whether I have time. Anybody that can help us have time to type it, God will bless you. We will put it for them in the caption. But if you have questions, this is a good time to ask while you're
Sorry,
asking. Yes.
but while we're waiting for the questions, right? I just wanted to, because I know some people will be thinking, who is an emotionally intelligent woman? I would like to give one example of someone that we all know,
Okay.
and that is Abigail in the Bible. Madam Abigail.
Naaman's wife.
She was an emotionally intelligent. She managed her family. She managed King David. She was not. She stood her ground.
Please tell the story for those that are not very familiar with the quick.
Okay, so let me just read. Let me just read the story. Okay, so Abigail's story, right? Abigail was wife of Nabal, all right, a wealthy but very wicked man. It says, the Bible says he was ash and foolish.
Please give us the Bible reference.
David.
Bible reference.
Okay, so that's 1 Samuel 25.
Okay.
1 Samuel 25. That's where Abigail is found. All right. She married a wealthy, ash and foolish man, and King David, sent his men to request for provisions from Nabal during a time of need. Now, despite David's respectful approach, Nabal, because he was foolish, insulted David's men and refused to help. Now, this insult now vexed King David, even though he wasn't king at that time. He was going to
just ordinary David.
And then he now prepared to attack Nabal and his household in retaliation. Now, when the men of David got to Abigail's house, Abigail used wisdom. Sir, I think she even said, my husband is not around or something.
She ran ahead
to
go and meet him before he got to the house.
Yes. She ran to meet him. Okay, they're coming to look for you and all that. Sorry. So it's then, what's it called? So when she heard that this is what her husband did, she went to meet David's men. She was, because she was aware of the danger and her emotions, she chose to quickly, go for David's men to beg them, this is what is going on. No, do you understand? She didn't jump on it. She didn't, some of us will be afraid. Yeah. What should I do? They want to come and kill my husband. This one, down. She knew what was going on, and her emotions, she was calm. So she was self-aware. She allowed herself to access the situation logically. Most of us act logically when we are not emotional as women. That is what is expected of us, and that's why they say men act logical, women are emotional, right? So Abigail did something remarkable. She didn't allow fear or anger to dictate her actions. How many of us now, you hear that one king is coming to arrest your husband, you'll be calm? Everybody's running up and down. Do you understand? So instead of confronting her husband in anger, she quickly planned something. Do you understand? She put herself in King David's shoes. She empathized with King David. True. If not me, what would I have done? Do you understand? And she recognized why David was angry, because it was justified. Then she also understood that attacking her household would mean, for what now? Why are we now fighting? Just because. So because your men came, I'll get you to calm down now. Emotional intelligence. All right. She didn't take sides. She didn't say, because it's my husband. You too. Why did you send men? Or because he's king. King. You too. You did not listen to king. She did not take sides because it will come to unnecessary bloodshed and guilt. All right. So she empathized with their position. She spoke to him. She was able to resonate with his emotions according and acknowledge his frustrations. Rub his head. Men love to rub their head. Just make them feel like you are the best. You are doing it well. Only you. After you now, you nobody else. Emotional is usually true.
I love this. I really love the story of that Abigail, and many people had a lot to say about it. When some people will say, how can she call her husband foolish man and all of that? But it was what needed to be done at the time to save
The time.
the family from bloodshed. So it's a conversation that I know we can continue to have over and over again. In fact, we should continue it in the community because I really like the story of Abigail. I personally have one Abigail story of my own self that I cannot share online. It is only for people inside the community. We talk about it inside the corner of our house. And that brings us to the fact that this live comes to you every Tuesday, now 7 p.m., by the Women's Growth Academy, which is a community of women who just love God and are trying to grow in love of themselves and, just make themselves better. Yes, so we're rounding up. I can see my people have come to look for me. So we're rounding up now. Thank you so much, Eniola, for coming out today. Thank you for an amazing session. Thank you for the deep questions, and thank you for just wrapping it up very beautifully with the story of Abigail. It's something that we should continue talking about. And yes, the whole of the month of August we're going to be talking about emotions. So next week we'll take it from another angle again. Keep a date with us as usual every Tuesday. And please follow my guest, okay? Eniola Peters _. That's her handle. She's a coach. She does many amazing things. Follow her and you can learn more and, just buy her stuff. But start by following her first. Follow her. Thank you so much for coming on live today with us. And it was an amazing time. So,
Thank you.
good night. Thank you. All right. See you guys same time next week, Tuesday. It's love from us here in Dallas. Bye-bye.